Raider Nation, what is the deal, man? Once again, it's your guy Panama Fargo, and I'm back to y'all live with another episode of the Raider Rundown. And today, man, we're gonna be discussing the players the Raiders should be drafting at pick 13, and just bouncing off my list from the other day. So without further ado, let's go ahead, let's get the intro started, and let's get the show cracking. What is the deal, man? What's happening with my Raider family, man? You back for another episode of the Raider Rundown. Make sure you guys are tapping on the like and on the subscribe button. And please hit on that little notification bell so you get updated whenever I drop episodes or we have discussions like this right here. So like I was saying, man, we're going to be discussing the players the Raiders should be drafted at pick 13. Now, keep in mind, once again, this list is subjective, right? This is my list. This is what I would do. Okay, so no rumblings, no information to report. This is just discussion, right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get it started. So first of all, first player, we're going to go ahead and say that I would love for the Raiders to select at pick 13, Taliese Fuaga, right? That is one, right, at 13. Now, yesterday I made the list of saying that definitely I would not like the fact that if they went with a guy like Tyler Guyton or something like that, which I've seen mocked to us before. No, I think Fuaga fits the mentality. He fits what we want to do as far as, his attitude, the way he maneuvers through the run blocking. And when I say maneuver through the run blocking, I mean he's fucking people up. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, right? Like, if you watch his film, bro, he's throwing people, grown ass men, to the side, right? Like that's what he's doing. Everything about his game screams Raider. Right now, there are some things to be desired in the pass blocking game, right? So I'm not gonna say he's like a perfect tackle prospect, but at the end of the day, when we talk about mentality, we talk about physicality, we talk about ill intent, everything that AP has talked about, Fuaga embodies that. So he would be a pick for me there at 13. That'll be one of the tackles that I pick. Next, right? We staying in the trenches. The next person that I would select, and you heard me say it yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Jermaine Newton, right? If it comes down to him or Byron Murphy at pick 13, I would go with Jermaine Newton. I think he's a better pass rusher, and I think there's more ceiling, right? I also think that he has better technique than Byron Murphy, right? When you watch, I feel like Jermaine's hand technique and everything is not like super overly polished, right? There's definitely things that can be added to the game, but I definitely think he's more polished than Murphy, right? When it comes to his hand placement and also the way he uses his leverage, all right? At the end of the day, you heard me say it yesterday, I think Byron Murphy plays a little too high and he relies on that upper body strength. With Jermaine, a lot of people say, oh, he's small, whatever, but whatever the case, bro, he knows how to use his compact size, right, to gain leverage. And that's something that I really want to see within the D tackle. Like, the size thing really doesn't have a big concern to me as most people may have it, right? Like that, I'm trying to find the words, but it's like, I really don't give a fuck. I'm trying to be professional, but to keep it frank, bro, I don't give a fuck about the size thing. I don't, right? So at the end of the day, I don't think that's a big concern when I watch his tape and I see him rush the passer and I see the way that he uses his hands and his technique. Yeah, he's real. So Jermaine Newton at 13, I wouldn't mind that at all if we standing pat and we doing what we got to do, right? So that's one. Or two. That's two. Number three, right? The third guy that I think, and I'm not even gonna say guy because once again, this is a general thing, right? I think any other corner besides Terrion Arnold at 13, I mess with. But if I had to go ahead and select it down to one guy, I would go with Nate Williams. I would go with Nate Wiggins at 13. I personally think Nate Wiggins is the best corner in this class. I do. Some people can look at me and look at me crazy. I honestly think Nate Wiggins is the best corner in this class. Now, the only thing that concerns me about that and what would be cause for pause, right, is the injury concerns. Like, that's the thing. He's a little small in frame, thin in frame, right? So that's something that you have to look at, the durability factor. But, honestly, I think he's the best corner in this draft. Now, if you wanted to sit there and say, if it's a health concern reason, then at the end of the day, then you can go with Quinyon Mitchell. That's another guy that I like. But if I had to pick one, it's Nate Wiggins. But just me, I'm not an Arnold fan. I like Kool-Aid, but I think we need more length, right? And if I'm sticking to what I kept saying throughout the season, throughout the offseason, that I think the Raiders need more length on the outside corner spot, then I'm looking at Nate Wiggins. I'm looking at Quinyon Mitchell. Those two would be my corner selections, right? Now, keep this in mind. I'm saying this, and I'm going to be a hypocrite to myself. Even though I am saying those two, I've always said I do not think the Raiders should be selecting a corner at 13. I don't think it's that big of a need. Now, whatever happens with free agency, we'll see. But as we stand right now, I don't think that's a huge-ass need. I think you should get a veteran to go on that other side, and then we rock in the draft from there. But that's just me, okay? So far, we got Talise Fauga, right? That's one. Next, I have Jermaine Newton. I say 3 A and B, Quinyon Mitchell and Nate Wiggins. Those would be my 3 A and B, okay? So now from there, you start to look at like best player available, right? So there's not a lot of guys after that would make me be like, oh, we got to jump up. But, if we're looking still in the tackle spots, okay, then I would definitely go with J.C. Latham as well. That's another guy that I would go with because realistically, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, that pick 13 don't need to be used on shit else except the trenches. That's it, right? I don't want to see a receiver. Once again, I don't want to see a corner for real. If a quarterback slipped that far, then okay, cool, sure. But like I said yesterday, if it's not Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, you're not picking a quarterback at 13. Makes no sense. It's a reach. So that pick at 13 needs to be only used for the trenches if you're not moving up or whatever the case, right? Now, if you move down, we have a different discussion. But if we're staying at 13, you use that on a tackle. So once again, J.C. Latham, right? And the only 2 tackles in the first round I really like are Jermaine Newton, Byron Murphy, right? So, and I already said I wouldn't select Byron Murphy at 13. I trade down off that. So now it starts to get frail, right? It starts to get thin going in there. But I think that list right there at 13 is, as far as value to me, is where I would go, right? Those players right there. Now, if Troy Fontenot falls, that's interesting, but at the end of the day, I don't think he should be playing right tackle. I think he's better suited for left tackle role, right? And for that right tackle, I think we need more of a role grader. I think we need more of a hog on that right side, to be honest. Especially for what we're trying to do. We get Josh Jacobs back, which I think he comes back, and we're trying to be physical and build that bully. Yeah, bro, we're going to need that hog on the right side, right? So I don't think Troy Fontenot's game really matches with what we're trying to do. So once again, that's why I go with J.C. Latham. But the list is short once again because at 13, the value, right? We need good value. You don't want to be reaching for shit that you don't really need to be reaching for. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I keep talking about corner and all that. Like, get number one, if you can get best player available, sure. But at the end of the day, like, this class is so loaded with offensive line talent that there's going to be a very, very good chance that at pick 13, you can also get best player available. And that's also a need, which is trenches, either D tackle or offensive line. So y'all let me know down below. How do you feel about the list, right? Who would you add? Who would you take off? Who do you agree? Who do you disagree with? Let your boy know down below. All right, let's holler about it. Once again, make sure you guys are hitting on all them buttons, right? Turf and Rundown tomorrow. Pull up. Y'all know what time it is, right? We going earlier, I believe 9:30. So pull up, all right? And come chill with Unc and Rundown, man. So once again, it's been another episode of the Raider Rundown. And y'all already know, man, I always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown.
I need a bad bitch with an accent. Serving in peace, still taxing. Just got tapped for the young cash app. Moonwalking like a young Mike Jackson. Yeah, shots to the head. Ride clean and it's still fuck feds. Realest nigga and it's on my kids. So who the fuck gon' wanna test me, bitch?